I'll call this meeting of the Northfield Finance Committee to order. It's March 14th, 6 o'clock.
Recording in progress.
And I have to read this reason that we're having this Zoom meeting, justification for the Zoom meeting. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, extended on June 16, 2021, and the governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Town of Northfield Finance Committee will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. A record of the proceedings will be posted on the Town of Northfield website as soon as possible after the meeting. I'd like to change the sequence just a little bit tonight to fit what we've got for information. First of all, I'd like to take up the minutes of the last meeting. And Sue, while she can't be here, she did send a memo to me with some thoughts on things. But this one is on the second page, the third page, excuse me, page 3 of your minutes, if you're looking at them. Up from the bottom is a paragraph talking about ARCAP, A-R-C-A-P, who is the engineer on this potential project. And that is on forming a water district. And Sue says that they aren't engineers. They provide other kinds of services. So I would like to see us strike that out. They evidently did a presentation at a select board meeting a few weeks ago. And so that's what we're saying we've got in the minutes, but I would like to make a motion that we strike out that they're engineers because they aren't. Somebody
Dan
second.
Campbell seconds that.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Now, let's take the minutes as a whole and see if we can accept them.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes as corrected.
Second?
Okay, motion made in second to accept the minutes as corrected. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that RCAP stands for, let's see, where is it?
Lois, will you just make the correction or do you want me to change it and reprint it?
Just
Or you
make the correction, will be all right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Rural Community Assistance Partnership. That's what it stands for, and we'll get into that. Okay, thank you. That's me. And Andrea emailed that by our next meeting, but the next meeting is something else here coming up. She will have figures for us and spreadsheets for the budget requests and the capital plan requests. And I would imagine that include the income available. She's away and she's on her way home today. So what I'd like to do, I think, is to go through the budgets and discuss any that people want to discuss or have concerns about If we make any decisions, there'll be tentative decisions based on income that's available. What's actually coming up, again, changing the schedule, the sequence of things here. A few days ago, she emailed that she wants to have a meeting of all the parties involved in setting up a water district for the place of the East Northfield Water Company. She wants to have the meeting to include Northfield committees and boards that would be involved in such a thing. She wants this company there. She said there'll be somebody there from that company and from the college about this, what's involved in it and so forth. And I see that as taking up one whole evening of meetings for us. Well, we need to get a lot of information from them. That's what we'll be. So she sent the memo to me and the chair of the select board, but she said it will be a finance committee meeting. So, so that's what's coming up for next week, next Monday night. So that's why I'm saying, all right, we won't be making any final decisions till we get her figures on the budget and income that we have available to us. And then we'll meet again the week after that to take up finalizing our recommendations. So first of all, as far as I can see, I went through the list that I used for the budgets that we could expect. I don't remember seeing it, and I don't have anything from the Ag Commission. But that is not a large item. Does anybody have any concerns about that?
I know the chair is not around as far as doing that, and usually they do a level funding.
Yes.
They haven't asked for anything. The only committee that's
No.
asked for some would be the Conservation Commission. They're looking for is it conservation or is it the zoning board that wants to?
Concom.
Concom.
Yeah.
Okay, Andrea responded this afternoon on that not to expect the Concom to come in. The problem has been about a secretarial service for them. And so they're working on getting them to use the one that is used by other committees and so forth. So even that will take care of the capital request, I would say too. So tech school, let's see, we've got that one now. We haven't got Pioneer, but that's to be expected. It should come out soon. I didn't see anything on Memorial Day. We'll see, have that for the veterans. But I would imagine, we'll level fund something like that. I would recommend. The ZBA, and Andrea had already told them if they didn't get their budget in, it was going to be level funded. And I guess that's not the first time it's happened. So anybody, any concerns on departments that you think we haven't heard from that we should have?
No,
No, I think we're
No.
pretty much
No,
up to date on what we need.
I'm sorry.
No, I think that we're probably where we need. We just need to report from funds available as far as doing that, and just going over how we're going to present the different budgets,
Yeah, okay,
set up the articles.
all right. So the first one I have is the Conservation Commission, and that was no increases there. Why don't I just look at the ones that had some increase? Otherwise, I'm safe to assume that everybody's concerned with level funding if they didn't ask for an increase. EMS. We talked with Mark, and I guess they're doing okay financially because he's talking about buying another ambulance and paying it out of their excess money. Did anybody have any concerns on that one?
No,
No,
It looks to me like they're headed toward regional ambulance service. We're already serving Bernardston, we're serving the Mills Falls part of Irving. And occasionally, with those two, I think they have an agreement, but occasionally serving Gill. And I think he said the other day when he talked with us that there's another town that wants to come in. My thoughts are that if we go into a regional ambulance service, we've got to have a little more formal hierarchy there to run that, and maybe pattern it after South County Ambulance or something like that. I think for our sake, for the town's sake, I should say, we need to have more management than just one person running.
well, you're gonna have to have a full-time person that is overseeing that, possibly the fire department and well, the EMS and fire department and emergency management.
I think we're headed toward that sort of thing, yes. So. All right. Next is highway.
I think, okay, highway.
Any concerns for that? For the budget? Survey of bounds, town bounds has been moved. I don't hear anything anymore, but the law still exists as far as I know, where the select board of the various towns that share a border are supposed to walk around every year.
Well, select board is supposed to do a walk around and check the boundaries as far as doing that. They do that every year. If they don't, then they get fined like $10 or something.
Yeah, it's nothing that's.
It hasn't happened it's only talked about once since I've been town clerk.
Really? Yeah, okay. There is a capital request from the highway department, and that is $200,000 for a truck that Tommy talked to us about. Apparently, he'll try to get a used truck if he can, but apparently, I believe this amount of money is to be for new if he has to go to new one. I think we should discuss that one. Anybody have any thoughts on?
The thing with that, as far as soon that brand new one was going to be in the vicinity of, according to him, about $300,000. So basically, if he's going to come in $100,000 under that, I would just want to make sure that nothing is neglected if he's going to do that.
Yeah,
I thought that he said that 200,000 was the top figure, that if he might get it, he might get it cheaper than that if he got it used.
No, the other thing he said is he has other monies if he had to make up the difference. If it was going to be higher than the 200,000. He did say that. Where he's getting it from, I don't know.
let's see. New truck would be used for hauling materials and no plowing. How many trucks? Let's see.
Again, these are questions, unfortunately, that we could probably ask Andrea, but she's not with us tonight.
Yeah.
Is there, Lois, is there a long-term capital plan for the highway department? No, that show replacement schedule for trucks and equipment?
Yes, I think she has it. I think she had for,
Yeah, she has it for all the departments, I think, for
yes,
equipment.
vehicles for all departments. So if we want, let's hold off on that until we can get some of that information. Okay,
Yeah, I believe that was the last budget season. She provided copies of their, for the next 3 to 5 years of
Yeah.
budget potential capital requests down the line from pretty much all the major departments. But we haven't seen one this year at all for any of the major departments.
that's,
Well, that would be useful.
Yeah, I agree.
okay. Police budget. I believe,
They aren't asking for any capital expenditures this year, are they?
No, police are all asking for 2. One is for a additional license for a workstation for the officers. And the other thing is for $56,000 for a new police cruiser.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's for, yeah, yeah.
the police cruiser, it was on the capital plan for the police department.
I'm sorry, you're right. That was going to be for the resource officer. And
Correct. He's going to,
vehicle.
yeah, he's not trading in as normally you would do, is trade in a used cruiser for a new one. He's going to retain the older one in the fleet.
Yes, the new one will not go to the SRO. It would be the oldest one in the department that goes to the SRO.
Well, he wanted an unmarked
Yeah,
one over
right.
to the school. And he was going to
Yes.
use it if he had to transport, underage kids, as far as doing that, or adolescents. And it was going to have
Yes.
a repeater in it because he wanted to have communication with being able to use that vehicle. So that's why it was so high, because there's some of the equipment that was going to be in it.
Yeah, because he's not removing equipment from a vehicle to trade in. He
Yeah.
needs additional new equipment to put into that car. And the other thing is, you had brought up, Dan, you're on the ARPA committee. Wasn't there some talk of some additional funds to cover a car or
Yeah,
cruiser?
that's one of the things. I don't know if the select board has a chance to do that. There's a couple of suggestions, and one of them was that. So that might be where it might not even see it on the warrant at all. So that's something that we're hoping that the select board would chime in on. We gave them that, and there was a one other item, and I don't know if they've had a chance to discuss it yet, but that was going to come out of other funding, and it wouldn't have anything to do with the taxes here. So that might not even be on the warrant if we can do that. We've
Okay, now-
recommended it, and the select board can say, yes, they want to do that, and that's all they would have to do. They don't have to bring it in front of the any committee or any town meeting. They can spend it if they so desire.
Now, there's a concern I have is that this budget, as they've always done, and that's okay, is included full-time, excuse me, a year's salary in there. While the officer, we get reimbursed half of that from Pioneer, from the school district. This person that's in the position now has a full-time job as a fireman, I believe, in Greenfield. And so he's not interested in the extra time that he could have to work for the town. If we're going to talk about furnishing a cruiser to the SRO, what happens with the 50% for that position from the school? I didn't hear any mention of that.
As far as the vehicle,
Yeah,
I think they only pick up the salary. I don't know about the vehicle. That would be a question that I don't know, and you'd have to ask either the chief or you'd have to ask Andrea.
well,
I
that's
don't
it.
think there's been, there was no provision made for that or discussion on that issue. If the district would be, not liable, but requesting, to pick up some of the tab, because that's part of the function of the SRO, if that vehicle is going to be dedicated to the SRO. That question hasn't been brought up or even answered, so.
That's it.
Well, at this point, if the select board decides that that's what they want to spend some of this money that was allotted, they would do that, and it wouldn't come out of Northfield taxpayer dollars. It would be coming out of the federal government, which we do pay taxes on, but basically it would not be anything that we would be looking at even as a finance committee.
Well, if they can, fund it some other way, that's good. That'll help.
That's what we anticipated doing, as far as doing, hopefully.
Okay. It's just something to think of that it tips the scale not in our favor that way when we're spending it. If we don't have to spend our own money, that's good. All right. This is the list of vehicles. And the rec commission, there was no increase. We shuffled the money around a little bit, but there was no increase for it.
Yeah, the only concern they had was mowing the field.
Yes. And sewer has got problems.
Sewer's looking to do their driveway.
So that's the capital request.
But that would be coming out of their funds. They would have to, it'd be coming out of their coffers, not necessarily the towns. It'd be the users that would be paying for that.
Enterprise fund.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they have sufficient, they told us, sufficient retained earnings in which they could pay for the survey and for the road repair. And I'm not a big fan of it, but if it comes out of retained earnings, so be it.
But there are a lot of deficiencies down there that need funding and correction, and I don't know what the time frame is on that, but it's going to cost a lot of money to do that.
They're going to have to look for outside sources again for a lot of that, as far as doing that. So they should be trying to secure some type of not necessarily, loans and federal government funding. There will be some available, though. There's going to be quite a bit available.
There's ARPA money to go.
Yeah, but it's not enough to do whatever they want. It's enough to help on some of the things which are being looked at, believe me.
No, I
Yeah.
just want to bring up to the finance committee's attention, the other option to look for funding is what Hatfield and South Deerfield have done. is to get funding through the US FDA, which one of them has already secured. But be honest with you, the statute or the limits of it is they will only grant up to 25% of the cost will be a grant. 75% must be borne by the community or by the district or whatever the enterprise fund is. They will allow a loan to that city, town, or district for a 40-year period of time at 1.25% interest. So just so you know, they will only cover as a grant by their statute, 25%. 75% must be covered again by the community or by the district to pay. And basically you get a bond, but it still can be a substantial amount of money to the individual homeowners because just using an example, Hatfield is looking for 12 million. The annual cost to their community for the bond will be $300,000 per year for 40 years. So if that, again, I'm not saying our district's going to be that, sewer is going to be that high. It's looking at 8 or 9 million at least. But that's what we are looking at for the users are going to have to pay. And when I looked at an example at 12 million for 288 users, you're looking at over $1,000 per year for a resident to have to pay for the increase, to pay that bond. Now that's subject to change depending on, again, would be like the college who would be a large user. They would have to obviously pay substantially more. But you're looking though at a homeowners could be a substantial amount of money per year to pay for that bond.
And Bernie, those figures, that's if you go with the USDA.
US FDA. That's the one who's doing providing the loan to Deerfield for their plant upgrade, which is in progress. And that's also the agency that's looking to do the one for Hatfield. So obviously, and then Andrea has mentioned FDA for the potential water district for looking for them for bonding. So I assume it would be the same for the, sewer enterprise fund or that district looking for funding. They'd be same agency.
Yeah, okay. What do their regulations prohibit you using another source of funds along with theirs?
I don't have an answer for that.
Okay.
Normally, no, Lois.
Okay.
But if they get another source of funds, for example, their 25% grant will be lessened by the amount of, in other words, if you get $200,000 on $1 million project grants from somewhere else, then you have $800,000 to fund. Normally the 25% would now be 200,000, a quarter of the 800,000. I don't know if that's clear.
Yeah, I see. Okay, thank you. Well, we'll save that and talk later when we get figures from her and so forth. And then tech school. I thought it was an excellent presentation. I think the rest of you spoke up too, said they did. And they were waiting for a meeting, school committee meeting, to have that voted, and it was voted. So that what he was telling us passed as their budget. I don't think we have any, I don't know, do any of you have any current concerns with the tech school budget?
Wasn't it?
Pardon?
Wasn't it a reduction?
Yes,
Yes,
Slight
it
reduction.
was. So
even
yes,
though we had an increase in
Jack,
population, it looked like.
yeah,
I will not badmouth the reduction.
And their presentation, as Jack had mentioned last week, was excellent. I mean, easy, straightforward, and well done.
Yeah. Dan,
And the
why don't
fact that they
we,
back it up with facts that are right out there for everybody. Well, I don't know why our school committee or the Pioneer can't go out there, look at it and figure out a plan in advance here, but hey, that's just me talking.
yeah, okay. Hold on, this one.
So, I don't think there's a lot we can do until we get more information from Andrea next week, because sources of money we want to go over. I think most of the budgets that were presented we understand what's going on there. Most of them, except for the capital things, were kind of expected or explained as far as doing that. So I think that we need to have the available funds, and I think we can then, go over the articles in for the town meeting.
Yes, well, let's see, the last one I have, well, yours, and then treasurer tax collector, no change. So that's okay. Yeah, now the other thing next we have is the capital items. Now, normally I would prefer to use any free cash that we have for the capital items. And we could figure that. I thought I figured it here somewhere. We had the free cash figure a while ago, and then we know what we spent at the special town meeting. Oh, I haven't got it right here now. If you want, we can talk about some of these special articles, well, capital requests. We didn't get an answer on whether there are other special articles or not. Other than we've got these capital requests, but are there any other articles being introduced at this time? We don't know that yet.
So
Still-
we don't have a list of the articles yet? Huh,
No,
okay.
not that I've seen.
No. We don't.
I think honestly, because we don't have pertinent information in front of us, as Dan has said, for certain issues, and the fact we don't even have the list in front of us and plus without the town administrator available, I think we should just delay that till the appropriate meeting when we have that in front of us, because discussing it, I just don't see it as use of our time, proper use of our time.
Yeah, okay.
And there's nothing wrong with postponing it till next week as far as doing that and just taking up some of the other issues.
I don't think not next week, Dan. I think it would have to be the week after. I think this meeting next week with all the parties involved and whether they're going to form a district or not, I think that'll take up one evening. I don't
Oh,
see the
yeah,
rest
but that's
of-
something that, is that something that's like we want to put on? Is it going to be an article? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes,
Andrea has mentioned that will be an article because they're looking to have home rule legislation
Okay.
brought forward. So she's had mentioned bringing it as a special article to annual
Yeah,
town
but
meeting.
it's not a money article though.
Well,
It's-
there's money risk involved, a big money risk, depending on how they.
Well, now, correct me if I'm wrong. We already have a water district in town that basically governs themselves and doesn't, the only thing the town pays for is the use of the water. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Why would this other one be any different?
Well, because that water district was set up decades ago. This new one, we're not exactly sure of the procedure. I mean, if the town is forming a water district with their own infrastructure, there's mass general laws that write down the procedure you have to go through. But the process of going from a private water company to a water district, I don't understand how that works. And I don't
Okay.
understand the risks it presents to the town.
And again, my question is, if we already have one, it's not costing anybody any money except the users as far as doing that. And if it doesn't cost anything to set it up, I understand that the town has to agree that they can create one as far as doing that. But if there's no dollars involved from the towns other than agreeing to allow to establish a water district, then it would be up to the users to form their own governing body and form their own rates. Is that correct? Or that's what I'm assuming. And I may be incorrect, but
Well,
I would want to know what the procedure was. Yeah.
I don't know. In other words, from my not lack of understanding of this stuff, does the water company have to deed the infrastructure to the town that then would form the water district, and the infrastructure goes to the water district? I don't know, but there is. For myself, I want to make sure the town's not at risk for getting stuck with some of these
Okay,
issues.
so that's the reason we're going to have the meeting. As far as the only thing I was bringing that up, could that meeting be after our meetings to discuss the money articles, and that be taken up at the not next Monday, but the Monday after? Because I think we can go through the money articles, the capital things rather quickly once we have the information in front of us, and then basically deal with that issue the following week.
No, Andrea has already set it up with all
Okay,
these other
all right.
parties for that
that's
date.
fine.
And told
I didn't
me
realize it had already been set up.
yes, she did. Yeah. And that's my concern too, like yours, Jack, is if finances are not involved, why are we? And why is the town getting their name into this? And remember, we asked her a while back whether we could make the motion read to say that there would be no financial obligation on the part of the town, and she said you can't do that. And I'm concerned that if we do have that on there, that there's a lot of money involved here in getting the system up to speed, up to date, so forth. And I'm very concerned that the town getting involved in it.
Well, that's what our meeting next week is going to really be about, to answer a lot of the questions that people have,
Yes,
I would
Right.
assume. So that should probably be done as soon as possible. And next Monday sounds fine, and we'll go from there. I mean,
yes.
what is the exact laws? What do they say? Is there any protection for the town under these laws if they just to set up the district?
Again, we'll hopefully keep those questions for the next time, but let's
Right.
not lose track of the fact that these are members of the town, even though they may have their own a different water resource than say half of us do, or more than half as far as doing it. They still do pay taxes in the town. They still are members of the town, and to not try to help them out, whether it be just trying to get the groundwork done. I understand why it's important not to try to pay, anything, but still they are taxpayers. So they have a right to have the town should have some interest in their problems.
But you're
agree.
also missing, oh, excuse me, Jack, go ahead.
I agree, Dan, but I'm just concerned about the process. Andrew is relying on this RCAP, who is a consultant to the college and not to the town. we want to make sure that the information we're getting is in the best interest of the town. So we
And I
have,
agree with that. I agree with that 100% as far as doing that. But yeah, we got to look at the big picture too, people. So with that said, we can wait and have this discussion next week on that particular matter. And it looks like the following week we'll be looking at the articles and the money articles. But the good news is we'll probably have all the information given to us in the next couple of days or so that we can digest it and be able to go through the articles fairly quickly.
I emailed her and asked if town council were going to be present for this. And she answered me today that she's working on the lawyer part of it. Whether, I think that, you know, I'd like to see our town council there for our protection, for the town's protection, and what we can do for the rest of us. Tony, you have a well. Jack, you must have a well. I have one. Bernie, you have a well.
Yeah.
I don't know, Dan.
Everybody here, I think, has just about has a well. The other thing that I just got today from our KP Law, as far as doing that, digesting the federal funding that we were looking at, there is areas in there where you can do private water supplies, such as wells, and private sewer, not sewer, but private septic system, stuff like that. So there may be availability to be able to help all aspects of the town. Just to let you know.
Yeah, I think we've got two big issues because the water, and I think the sewer department has some big expenses to satisfy the state requirements. Jack, do you know anything about that part of it?
the only thing I know is at our meeting with the sewer department, Andrea mentioned that there was an administrative consent order. Usually those have certain tasks and a schedule to do them, but I know nothing about that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know, you know, they've been notified, I believe, but anyway, yeah, well, that's about it, Dan, that, and the rest of you, where there are a lot of things that we need information on before we can proceed with finalizing anything. And if you want to talk about any of the other capital articles, we can. If you'd rather not, and you'd rather wait and see, because, you know, we
I
don't
think,
have the knowledge of the amount of money and that sort of thing that we need.
One thing I'll have probably by even the next meeting, as far as doing that, and definitely by the 2 weeks from now, I'll have an answer on the police cruiser, where the funds will be coming from. I right now feel that it won't be coming out of any town taxpayer funds.
Okay,
But it's up to the select board to decide that.
yeah. Right, so. Well, is there anything else to take up then tonight on this? Oh, well, not related to that, but did you get the monthly balances? I sent those out
Yeah,
earlier.
Yes.
yep, we got 'em.
Yeah.
Okay. Communications mainly have been what I've had from her regarding next week's meeting. Is there anything else then that we need to take up tonight?
And I think we're in a holding pattern until we get the information that we can look at.
I think so too, because remember I think it was last meeting, we mentioned state aid and I said level fund it. That's what she was planning to do. But, and then we'll have free cash. But we need that information, definitely. So I guess it's put off for 2 weeks and excuse me. I think she's talking about next week's meeting being hybrid. So I think that means it can either be in person or like this as a Zoom meeting. And I don't know whether I think she's dealing with the people from the college in California, where their headquarters are.
Mhm.
So obviously that one, unless they come here, obviously that one won't be in person. So I don't know which way we'll do it, or whether it'll be up to the individual person what they want to do. So, well, anything else then that anybody wants to bring up tonight?
Just want to remind everybody of the caucus tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. I want to get 25 warm bodies in there. It looks like Heath is running, so he informed me that he was. So he will be there. Some of the other people that I've talked to are also going to be there. So I think we'll have a full slate of officers. For those people who aren't successful tomorrow, I will have nomination papers with me and they can fill those out.
Okay,
That's my commercial for tonight. Sorry, guys.
My nonprofit commercial is that tomorrow at 4 o'clock, the Emergency Services Building Committee is having a meeting at Town Hall at 4 o'clock concerning, discussing our architects and some of the financing and plans. So that's what's taking place tomorrow at 4.
thank you. Tony, anything more?
No, nothing new on
Yeah,
community preservation.
okay.
If we have nothing else to discuss, I would make a motion that we adjourn for this evening. Wow.
Okay.
Second,
Motion made and seconded that we adjourn and the time is 6:48.
Oh, my goodness.
All right,
Thank
Thank
you all.
you.
Enjoy your time off here.
okay, good.
okay.
night.
Good night.
Good night.